document with the DMV because it's a medical need and get the permit to have tinted windows on the front of my car. So instead of those people who get pulled over and get ticketed for having tinted windows on the front of their car, I could actually have the tinted windows all the way around my car. Yeah, I mean, get pulled over more often by doing that, but just roll down the window and hand them the paper and be like, here, this is the authorization for me to have the tent on the front window. And since that's what you pulled me over for, we can kind of mosey on after that. So there isn't a reason to go any further on the discussion. So yeah, sometimes privilege has extra privileges. Exactly, limo tent. Yes, that's right. I wouldn't do limo tent though. I would actually probably do like 70% all the way around, maybe as low as 60% all the way around. Um, uh, Probably like progressive tent where I can see out but you can't see in kind of thing. But I wouldn't do limo tent. And the reason why I wouldn't do limo tent is because you can't see out any window at night. You know, Preferably if I was going to get limo tent, I would get that electronic tent where I could turn it on in the daytime and then turn it off at night where I could still see at night. But still have the benefit of the tent during the daytime. But again, that's going to be very expensive as well. But yeah, it's one of those things like, well, while you can do it, the question is, should you? So um, I haven't put tent on any of my windows yet, but it's always a benefit to know that I can. But I did put my glasses on all of my photo identification cards, so every Homeland Security agent sees the glasses on the ID, and I go through customs without having to take these glasses off. So it's a privilege, and it gives me a very unique 4-star passport, which is a question. What do those stars mean? Now, back to tonight's show. I'm about to expose the hidden financial dangers that the feud is going to create. Because we did say that we were going to be talking about the ability to live in different countries and invest in those countries, and the dangers that we're dealing with right now can slowly and silently drain your wallet, especially if you're investing in Spain or companies that are benefiting from Spain. But more importantly, I'm going to show you guys how this turmoil is also opening the door for three specific low budget smart moves that you could put your financial um, uh, efforts ahead of 99% of the people that are ignoring the stuff that's going on. So, this is going to be the playbook for not just surviving, but thriving when geopolitical storms hit home. Let's get right into it. What's actually happening here? Let's cut through the noise because at the heart of this situation, this is a clash of national interests playing out on a world stage. As of early March 2026, the United States is in a military conflict with Iran, a move that sent shockwaves across the globe. To run a strategy, Washington has always relied on a network of allied military bases. And two of the most strategic happen to be Spain in Naval Station Rota and Morin Air Base, in addition to Britain. Britain was all for it, but Spain not so much. Now these bases aren't American soil; they are Spanish bases, jointly operated under long-standing defense agreements. They're perfectly positioned at the gateway to the Mediterranean, a critical logistics hub for any operation from Europe to the Middle East. From Washington's perspective, the plan was simple: use these bases as launch pads and support hubs for the campaign against Iran. But Spain said no. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's government publicly called the military action reckless and illegal, of which most people understand. That's the way it was when they ambushed Venezuela, but who said anything about it? It was a direct in and out. So the prime minister has explicitly forbidden the United States from using Spanish territory for any offensive this isn't just a polite disagreement, it's a rare public break within the NATO alliance. Spain has drawn a line in the sand, choosing what is calls international law and de escalation over the request of its most powerful ally. Now, the American response was swift and sharp. President Trump accused Spain of failing to cooperate with NATO and not paying its fair share in defense spending. This all led to a direct economic threat. We may cut trade with Spain off, right? May. He didn't actually do it yet. This has already prompted sharp calls in Washington to pull vital assets like refueling aircrafts from Spanish bases and relocate them to other European countries like Germany. While diplomats on both sides are trying to project a sense of calm, the message from the White House is clear: there will be economic consequences for political defiance. Now, you might be thinking, okay, a political spat. But a full trade embargo between two major Western allies. It seems unlikely, right? And you're probably right. Total blockage is complicated by the European Union's single market rules. But that's exactly what makes this situation so much more dangerous. The real risk isn't a sudden catastrophic trade war, it's the death by a thousand cuts that comes next. It's the targeted tariffs, the investment freezes, the supply chain disruptions, and the currency jitters that happens when trust between two major economic partners simply evaporates. This isn't a loud explosion, it's a slow, creeping rot, like gangrene in your kneecap. The United States is the main investor in Spain. And when that relationship sours, the fallout doesn't stay in Washington or Madrid. It ripples outward, and those ripples are heading straight for your wallet. So, how does a diplomatic standoff over military bases in Spain actually end up costing you money at the grocery store level in Ohio? Wow, this is the part most people never connect. It's a chain reaction, a series of dominoes that links the high stakes world of international politics to daily budget. So let's break down the chain one piece at a time. Domino number one, the trade uncertainty and market spasms. The first thing to get hit is the financial market. Markets hate uncertainty more than anything. A threat, a mere threat to cut off trade with a major European economy, even if it's just talk, injects huge doses of fear into the system. Investors get jumpy the same way everybody cut and run when the tariffs dropped to, I think, 5 or 7% for like 4 hours and then rose back up to 15%. Shortly after that, everybody was running on Friday, preparing themselves for a market fallout on Monday. And then Tuesday, they had to put all their money back. People are going to start asking questions. Will there be more tariffs? Which industries get hit? Will the EU retaliate? Will this get worse? I had to check that before I even started the show. Suddenly, this isn't just about Spain, it's about the stability of the entire transatlantic trade relationship. So when investors get nervous, they sell, pull money out of stocks, especially companies with extreme exposure to Europe. And this means companies with big sales in the EU, firms that rely on Spanish parts, or even broad market index funds that hold these stocks can all take a hit. So if your 401k or your IRA is in a standard S&P 500 or global fund, you're going to be exposed. You might not own a single Spanish stock, but the American companies you do own are tangled in the global web. Spanish part maker for a German car company that sells in the United States creates a vulnerability that jumps across the ocean. The first reaction might be just a market dip that recovers, but the threat creates a new layer of risk that can drag on returns for months or even years after it happens. Your retirement savings, which you count on for steady growth, are now riding the waves of political feud. Domino number two, tariff ripple effect. The story of olive oil, not the chick, the actual olive oil. Um, so let's get specific. Let's talk tariffs. A full embargo is unlikely, but targeted tariffs are a classic move in these disputes. Usually, the first thing that Donald Trump does is a go to massive tariff hit. He fights with money before he fights with fists. Before he sacrifices a single human life, he will take all the profits out of his enemy. Which I gotta respect that because I mean, at least less people die from explosions and gunfire. I mean, I can't help the ones that starve to death because Trump said no turkey dinner for you, little Timmy. It's just it's a Cold War tactic. It's not active, you know, what's going on in Iran kind of tactics, right? But these are classic disputes. So imagine the White House decides to make a point by slapping an additional 25% tariff on famous Spanish products like olive oil. To most of us, that seems minor. So you buy a different brand, right? Follow the money. The bottle of Spanish olive oil doesn't just appear on your shelf. It starts on a farm in Andulias. It's harvested, pressed, bottled, shipped to a port, loaded onto a container ship, and sailed across the Atlantic. A U.S. importer receives it. A trucker takes it to a distributor, and it's finally delivered to your local supermarket. Now, every one of those steps have a cost. Now, add a 25% tariff. The importer has to pay that tax the second the oil enters the United States. Do they eat the cost? Of course not. They pass it on to the distributor. The distributor passes it to the supermarket, and the supermarket passes it straight to you. That $15 bottle of olive oil is now suddenly 18.75, maybe more. But the ripple effect doesn't stop there. You and thousands of other shoppers might switch to a cheaper Italian or California brand. This creates a sudden spike in demand for the alternatives. And what happens when demand outstrips supply? Their prices start creeping up too. Meanwhile, the Spanish produce facing a collapse in United States sales might have to lay off workers, hitting the Spanish economy, potentially weakening the euro and creating even more instability after everybody did that massive bailout a few years ago. A single tariff on one product can create price inflation across a whole category and send shockwaves back and forth across the ocean. Billionaires can sustain this loss. The rest of us cannot. Remember, the richest people in the country are 1% of the population, probably 1% of the world's population. But here in America, 1% of 385 million people is 3,805,000 people. See what I'm saying? So if almost 4 million people got enough money to sustain this, and the other 381 million people can't afford to sustain this, that's not good. Domino number three, the supply chain nightmare. Let's zoom out for the olive oil. Spain is crucial, if often invisible, part of countless global supply chains. The country is a major manufacturer of car parts, pharmaceuticals, and industrial machinery. A modern car is a global product. It might be assembled in America by an American company, but its transmission could be from Germany, its electronics from South Korea, and its seat belt mechanisms from the factory in Spain. Y'all gonna go back to y'all car and y'all are about to start checking tags. Y'all gonna be looking at the little tag on the seat belt talking about something made in Spain. You're going to be looking at the tag underneath your seat talking about made in Australia. You're going to be looking at the inner lining in your car talking about made in California. You're going to be looking at the metal plate on your door talking about made in San Francisco. You're going to be looking at the plate under the hood that says made in New York. You're going to see the plate on the bottom of your trunk hood that said made in Dominican Republic. I'm trying to tell y'all are going to be like, holy shit. This is serious. This is serious. Manufactured in America means that it was put together in America. Manufactured in America doesn't mean that every single part that goes into this vehicle was built in America, which is why the majority of vehicles after 2025 are now going up ten to $15,000 just because of tariffs. So in order for you to get a fair value on a vehicle, you have to buy a car that was built before 2025 to avoid the inflated cost of tariffs. If trade relations get rocky, it becomes harder and more expensive to get those parts. And even without direct tariffs, you can get new paperwork requirements, increased inspection at ports, or just the threat of future problems. Makes things even worse. This forces US companies to start looking for new suppliers, which is a messy and expensive process. Takes time and often a lot of money to find new partners and retool assembly lines because the parts from one country is not always compatible with another. In the short term, you get parts shortages, which means production delays for everything from cars to washing machines. And when production slows down, but demand stays the same, prices go up. I had to replace a part on my 2009 Chevy that was very expensive. The part was from Germany. If you replace that part this year, that was probably twice as much in comparison to the same part if you would have bought a refurbished part from before 2025. Sheesh. And the fact is that your 2000, I'm gonna give you right now the best tip possible. Because you drive in a 2009, you should never, for the remainder of the ownership of your vehicle, ever buy a brand new part. Always get a refurbished one. Why? Why? First and foremost, brand new parts put more wear and tear on 20-year-old parts. The new part is perfectly fine, but everything that's touching it is worn out. Brand new parts could cause collateral damage to other areas of the vehicle while the brand new part works perfectly fine. For example, put a brand new serpentine belt on your car, wear out your alternator. So, in order for you to put a brand new serpentine belt on your car, it's probably better to service your alternator. If there's it's called preventative maintenance and not too many people know about it, and mechanics stopped recommending it because they already upsell so much stuff. They don't want to drive you away making you think that they're charging you stuff that you don't need. But truth be told, It's like if you get a head job, you got to do the headers, you got to do the lifters, you might need to do the control arms inside of the engine. This leads to a whole engine rebuild to prevent from having the top of the engine put too much stress on the bottom of the engine and you throw a rod and break your engine. So it's crazy how um if you got a used car, everybody wants brand new parts. But if the mechanic is going to offer you a refurbished part is an old part that rebuilt whatever was broken on it. So it still works, but it is as aged as the rest of the car. So when you put it on the car, it's going to function just like the aged rest of the car. It's not going to overwork the rest of the car. See what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, I put Lucas oil into my car and I do full synthetic oil on top of that. And sometimes I can only get the 50-50 blend. So I get the 50-50 blend, then add the Lucas oil on top of it and top off the car. Run that 4,000 miles and then go get an oil change. Now, everybody else is going to go get regular oil. Nobody realizes that oil burns out of the engine. The further you go, the faster you drive, the more oil gets burned out. The oil doesn't leak, it evaporates. The problem with that is most people don't check their oil. They only let the mechanic do it. So if you never pop the hood and see how much oil is in your car, you could be riding a car with less oil than necessary, and that could damage your engine. People don't think about these things. Now, topping your car off with Lucas oil, the more you drive, the more often you check it. Once a week, once a month, every time you check it, every time the dipstick is less than full, top it off with some Lucas oil. The full synthetic oil never evaporates. It perfectly lubricates the car, especially in cold climates. You don't have to worry about it freezing up and then breaking any gears, and your car is going to be in better condition longer. If you forget to get the oil change, full synthetic oil can ride out over usage and not wear out the engine. You're not going to be dealing with sludge buildup like you would have with regular oil in a car. Mechanics don't talk about this stuff because they're afraid of upselling you on stuff that you're going to feel like you don't need. They don't want to be painted as frauds and scammers because mechanics have the reputation of charging you for shit you don't need, overcharging you for shit you don't need. So if you say just put oil in a car, you came for the cheap oil, they're going to put the cheap oil, but the cheap oil doesn't last. If you're driving 300 something miles, you're losing probably a quarter oil. Every time you think about it like this, every time or every other time that you fill your tank, you should have lost reasonably one quarter oil out of your car, which also means that if you don't check your oil every time you go to the gas station, you could be running 1 or 2 quarts low, 2 or 3 quarts low. He said, learning all kinds of stuff tonight, in spite of the drag on the thing. Lucas has different weight oils. No, Lucas Oil, you go to Advanced Auto or Discount Auto Parts and you go pick up the big, because they have them in the quarts. But I just spend 35 or 40 bucks on the gallon and then I just top it off because it's full synthetic. The regular oil that you get from the back of the shelf, like when you go all the way to the back of the auto parts store and you look at the regular oil, you're going to Walmart and you're looking at the oil in the automotive section, that has different weights. And the weights are based on thickness. Okay, so 10W30 is lighter weight, thinner oil than 20W50. 20W50 is thick, heavy oil, preferably used in either high performance vehicles or big ass trucks. Full synthetic oil, on the other hand, is just that, full synthetic, written on a bottle, full synthetic. If it's not full synthetic, it's going to say blend written on a bottle. But when you're doing oil change with full synthetic, it's going to be 0W5 or 0W10, which means the weight is either 5 or 10, but it's full synthetic. So as soon as you put that in there, top it off with another quarter to a Lucas oil, drive it, test it every other week. You see it a little bit low, top it off a little bit more. And since you bought a $35 or $40 bottle of Lucas oil, that's a whole gallon, it might take you 6 months to continue topping it off and keeping it running good until the next time you go do an oil change. By the time you do an oil change, you got an engine full of Lucas oil that is not going to go anywhere. So if you decided to do 1,000 mile trip somewhere, or if you're doing 200 miles a day because you got long distance commuting, this type of performance keeps your vehicle running better. But they don't talk about these things. So when you're dealing with um, something as simple as a car repair, She's got a 2009 Chevy assembled in America. Parts coming from Germany. Tariffs are going to hurt car repair. You got parts coming from Spain. You got parts coming from Australia. But if it has to touch the port of Spain, if it has to cross whatever in some area that Trump's pissed off with, if for some reason it's coming out of Japan and has to dock in Iran, all of a sudden you're dealing with all kinds of expenses that you wasn't expecting to have, right? We don't think about these things. Now, this is going to be the hidden inflation that nobody's going to talk to you about. You don't see a Spain surcharge on the sticker price of a new car. It's not in one of the line items. You just see a sticker price that is $500 higher, and they're going to give you some bullshit MSRP. No, it's not. Do you even know what MSRP is? It is the manufacturer's recommended sale price. The recommended sale price from the person who built it is not the damn price on a car when you go to buy it. That is the price of the car after they put all the bullshit on it and stuck it on the showroom floor. Floor mats cost them $250. Armrest, extra armrest cover, not an armrest, the armrest cover. The fucking fishnet and the trunk that nobody ever sees or use. The bullshit ass wind up jack that you immediately go and buy a hydraulic jack to replace. And they charge you for all of this crap on your car. Lock washers. You can get lock washers $20 for a pack at your local discount auto parts or advanced auto part. They charge you $250 for lock washers with the key. It's a standard key that everybody's got the key to. If they got that make and model or ever borrowed that make and model, they get the standard key for it. It's lock washers for washers. Like, bro, you can just go get you a custom pair of lock washers or do like I do. Two different size lug nuts. Problem solved. You don't even need fucking lock washers. If you've got one lug nut on the car that's inches and the rest of them are metric, you're going to need two wrenches to take off the tire if you don't carry a four way. Can't nobody run up on your car with a crowbar and just run off with your tire when it is two different size lug nuts. It's just not going to work. They're going to need two different size crowbars or a four way, right? And the average carjacker is not walking around like, man, I got an all purpose four way. I could take whatever. Be real, right? Now, the company blames uh, rise input costs or supply chain pressures on that $500 increase. But the root cause is political fights happening thousands of miles away because technically we're at war right now. Nobody's going to really call it war in the headlines. They're going to call it a military political skirmish. But we are at war with Iran. That's where we are right now. It's just at Iran. So every day we go to work, we play on social media, we play with our video games, we call our friends, we FaceTime, we text and drive, we're lane splitting in our motorcycles, crashing into other people's cars, being run over by other people. We're trying to uh, 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 promote the bike lane as a priority for rite of passage when you're trying to compete with an SUV and all of the stuff that we're doing here in America, where our rights to be assholes are so concretely etched into our tradition that we ultimately forget they're dropping bombs and launching missiles and having large caliber firearms shoot large quantities of ammunition at everything that moves in Iran. We don't pay attention to that part. Okay. Just like what was going on with Iraq and Afghanistan and all of that stuff. Nobody paid attention to that because our day-to-day operations was disrupted to the magnitude as that every Amazon package on both of those planes got blown up and they weren't covered under insurance. But that was the biggest impact. I mean, yeah, lives lost was a huge thing for all the family members that lost somebody. But let's be real, to the people who were not related to the people that were on those planes, The only thing that devastated those individuals that were not related to anybody that was on those planes is whatever the heck you ordered that was being shipped on those planes got blown up with that plane. That was the most impact that everybody else had. The rest of it was women and children being slaughtered in another country. We'd be literally going to war somewhere else. It's not happening here. She said, what happened in Cali yesterday or today? There was an alert. That's a good question. What happened yesterday or today that led to some kind of alert? Did we have in California an excursion of military proportion from Iran that just so happened to provide an onslaught on the beaches of California? Or was it one or two individuals that was carrying AR-15s in a Chipotle? I mean, were we really dealing with bombings from planes flying overhead in Memphis, Tennessee? Like, what happened in Cali yesterday or today? Let me know. And while you define that, I can go ahead and cross reference it, and we can see exactly what happened. Let's see how much information we can gather about what happened in California yesterday or today. And then so I'm gonna look with you. We're gonna ask the Google lady what happened. Because I know I'm talking to you guys about Spain, and not to downplay your question at all. Uh, I am a man of factual information, but I am definitely not going to try to put my 2 cents on something I haven't verified. So let's see what happened in Cali, and then I'll be able to tell you about it. And let's see just randomly what happened today or yesterday in California. We're just going to see what's going on here. She says, while I'm doing the digging, I think it was something about drones, possibly from sleeper cells. Okay. Um, let's verify that. The biggest California story in the last day or so is a federal warning about a possible Iranian drone threat against the state, which has put law enforcement on alert, but is being described as precautionary with no evidence of an immediate or imminent attack. So let's see what happened. The Iran US war and California's alert, there was the FBI had circulated a memo to West Coast agencies saying Iran had allegedly explored using unmanned drones launched from offshore vessels to hit targets in California based on intelligence from early February. So this is rumor, not an actual attack, but they're being precautious. Police departments in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, confirmed they received what's been called a cautionary warning, not actual action, and are coordinating with federal authorities. But they stress that there is no specific imminent attack identified. Now, Governor Gavin Newsom said the state office of emergency service has raised its security posture and is prepared for emergencies while also emphasizing that there are no known immediate threats at this time. So I'm glad you brought that up, but that reinforces the fact that they are experiencing bombs being dropped in their backyard, schools being blown up, hospitals being bombarded, their streets being torn to sunder with planes crashing down, and all kinds of WW2 experiences that you normally would see on TV is now real life social media streaming on TikTok. We got a verbal threat that was passed down from person to person since February, and they're just now telling everybody in March. It is that not serious to them that it took them 30 days to tell us. Now, I'm not going to devalue the fact that there's a strong possibility that a drone strike could potentially occur at some point. I want to point out the fact that if they found out about it in February and they are telling everybody about it halfway through March, their sense of urgency with this drone strike is slower than their sense of urgency for a hurricane, tornado, blizzard, flood, fire. Come on now, COVID. All of the things that made America stop moving and change directions, this drone strike was the least important thing on their to do list to tell the American people. It actually, to my effect, they are telling us about this drone strike faster than they told us about those planes hitting the World Towers in New York. So, a little bit of an improvement. At least Homeland Security is awake today, but nothing has happened yet in America. So, how serious that is on the ground? Officials and major networks are framing this as a credible concern. It's a concern that justifies extra vigilance, paying attention, and information sharing. So don't keep secrets, not as a reason for the public to panic or expert strikes in the new upcoming hours or days. There's no expectations of any type of drone strike or anything like that at this time. So, how does that impact your daily life? Well, traffic, events, schools, local tourism continues as normal across the state. Coverage from Los Angeles and the Bay Area outlets still focus primarily on local crime and politics and weather rather than emergency shutdown or war zone conditions. So even though allegedly there's an idea about what happened from Iran, before they could send the little Tonka truck over here to come and make something happen, America's been dropping big ass, gigantic, Toyota Camry sized bombs on Iran. If you seen the size of these missiles, you'd be like, son of a bitch. He's a happy people. What twin towers? I know they don't exist anymore. That's my point. US UFO lands on White House lawn. Nah, they didn't. That's a frisbee. Now, domino number four, the energy wild card. We're gonna get to this part. Now, feel free if you guys got more information than I do. If y'all are here from Twitter, Twitch, uh, 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 TikTok, feel free. Do exactly like Uncommon Woman 100 is doing, and put your comments into the comment section. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what's going on because I might have missed something. I I almost thought Spain over the last 4 hours. I didn't see anything about the U.S. hurting right now because of something that happened to the U.S. The U.S. will indirectly hurt because of how the economy will be impacted by the supply chain being disrupted due to what's happening in Iran, which is not a direct impact. We've got more damage still being cleaned up from the fire that California people caused by flicking cigarettes on the ground for 45 days worth of, what was it, 45? I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks worth of fire burning in between January and February of 2025. We have more damage in California with that fire than what we have experienced damage from Iran in 2026. I just want to be clear about that. Okay. We have lost people over there, planes getting destroyed, stuff to that effect, but we have not lost anything over here. Okay. Now, this energy wild card, it's going to be a big one. The whole US Spain tension is happening during a hot war in the Middle East involving Iran. So the conflict has already shaken up global energy markets with oil prices spiking. Europe is especially vulnerable right now, trying to get off Russian energy and now competing for liquefied natural gas on the open market. So here's the problem. He said MREs are a hot item to purchase. If y'all would have bought it last year, it would have been cheaper. Gasoline starts behind me. I gotta tell you something. My tank been full since February. I filled my tank. I ain't gotta fill my tank again until probably next month. And when I go down there to go fill my tank, I'm gonna fill my tank in a few extra gas cans, so I ain't gotta go back out there. I just found on Temu what looks like a 30-gallon gas can. I'm gonna be filling up big ass gas can situations with gigantic automatic pumps that will be able to fuel my vehicle whenever I need gas. I'm not stopping by the gas station. I'm gonna be stopping at my house. Like, let me fill the tank. Now, here's the problem. Spain is relying on heavy LNG imports, and a major supplier used to be the United States, or at least it still is until Donald Trump gets pissed off. If things get really bad, could the United States slow down LNG shipments to Spain as leverage? Terrifying thought for Madrid, but for you, the American consumer, the risk is different. A chaotic European energy market with countries fighting for supplies drives up global prices for everyone. It means higher prices at the pump right here in the United States because American producers can get a better price selling their LNG to a desperate Europe market. Liquid natural gas. You're saying what is LNG? Liquid natural gas. So this also means higher home heating and electric bills. So your light bills start going up now. Uh, this geopolitical energy shock, on top of everything else, is like pouring gasoline on a fire of inflation, or lighting up yet another cigarette on the other side of California's forest to start yet a second forest fire instead of just putting it in a freaking trash can. I'm gonna keep picking on y'all smokers. Y'all need to start figuring out a way to be cool and put your cigarette butt inside of a metal container until you can find a place to dump it. Y'all need to start walking around with some pocket ashtrays or some shit because y'all over there in California with that smoking flick, y'all are over here setting y'all whole state on fire, burning people multi-million dollar houses down and everything because y'all don't know how to put your cigarette in a metal trash can. And I know y'all got them. Y'all the dirtiest, cleanest city in the country. Because you can't find nothing on the beach unless you look down at your feet. Nah, this is going to be where most people's eyes going to glaze over because there's no single dramatic event here. There's no stock market crash, no bank run, nothing. It's just a slow, silent erosion of your wealth, an invisible tax levied by geopolitical instability. So think of it like a tire with a slow leak. You don't notice it at first. You drive for days, maybe for weeks, but every moment a little air is escaping. The pressure is dropping. The tire gets softer, less responsive, way more vulnerable to the blowout. No matter how many times you try to pump it up, it's always leaking. You don't see any damage. You don't see any tears. You take it to the mechanic, they don't know what's going on, but you know that you've got a slow leak that you got to keep trying to patch. By the time you feel the car pulling to one side, the damage is done. The car's worn down. You probably had a blowout. Now you're spending all this extra money to replace the whole thing and possibly even a rim because you don't know what is going on directly. I got to tell y'all something. This is crazy. That's exactly how this stuff is going on. He said, I'll have to science the shit out of this one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As he figures out a way to get our book of the day. As he figures out how to get our book of the day, I'm gonna set the bar for everyone. Now, that's what these US Spain tensions are doing to your money right now. A 0.5% jump in inflation from energy shocks doesn't feel like a big deal this week. An extra 75 cents on a bottle of wine is an annoyance, not a catastrophe. A 2% dip in your 401k is easy to brush off as market fluctuations, but these small hits add up and they compound. So let's make it real for you. Imagine a family with a take home pay of about $5,000 a month, which is like above average for most Americans. The energy shock, because remember, broke class Americans are making 1,700, I think, $65 a week. $5,000 a month is about working class level. That's individuals that's making closer to 65, 75,000, $79,000 a year. So at $5,000 a month, that's about 60,000 a year. So if this is your income or you make less than this, you need to really, really pay attention to what's going on, what I'm about to talk about. So if you make about $5,000 a month, the energy shock adds $30 to your monthly gas and utility bill. Regardless of how much you already spend, recognizing it's still a little bit breezy outside, 30 extra dollars on your utility bills, gas and electricity. So $30 for gas, $30 for electricity. Tariffs ripple effect adds another $50 to your grocery bill. Okay. Your new car payment is $25 higher than it would have been last year because of pricing imported parts. Or your car repair is going to be even more expensive, 50 to 100 extra dollars for car repair. There's a fun budget that gets squeezed. Dinners out that used to be $60 is now $68 individually. None of these break the bank, but it adds up. It's over $100 a month or $1,200 a year that has simply vanished from their budget. And that is $1,200 that they cannot put into their savings, their kids' college fund, or their own retirement. He says, book of the day is Building It Better Yourself by the editors of Organic Gardening and Farming. That book sounds like you're about to build your whole weed farm in your backyard. I recommend that you put up a 20-foot fence. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe and mash those reaction buttons as we talk about this topic today because y'all are going to get so much stuff from what we're talking about today. Y'all going to be thinking about things differently when y'all walk away from what we got going on today. And we're almost halfway through. We are not near, we've been here for an hour, and I know that we've got about 50 pages left. We got plenty more to cover. So, um, if we look at your savings, let's say that you have like $100,000 in a retirement account, which is a lot of money because most people don't have that much. The added volatility might trim your expected annual growth from 8% down to 6%. Now, that's a 2% difference, might not sound like much, but over a decade, think how the power of compound interest works. That is not a loss of just $20,000. It is a loss of nearly $48,000 in potential future gains that you would have gotten off of that $100,000 investment. This is going to be the silent drain. It's very sneaky. It doesn't send you a bill, doesn't wake you up at night. It just makes everything a little bit harder to be successful, a little bit more expensive to be stable and maintained. And it cuts your purchasing power, suppresses your investment returns, and quietly steals your financial future. Most people will never connect the dots unless they're watching the show tonight. They're just going to blame all this shit on inflation. They'll complain that they're working harder, but falling farther behind. They won't trace it back to the political decision in Washington and a defiant response from Madrid. And because they don't see this real cause, they feel powerless. They just accept it, letting the air leak out of the tire until they're stranded. They just it is what it is. And That's a bad mentality to have. It is what it is the worst mentality to have because it is what you make it and what you allow it to be. There are certain things in your life that you cannot directly control. But there are things in your life that you can control by communicating with a person that has more authority over your situation than you do. You have primary authority over the things that directly impact you and the way you allow it to impact you. But there is other individuals that have more direct involvement in the outcome, such as when you're in a dispute and there's a police officer there, the police officer has more control over the situation than you, but the police officer's supervisor has more control over the police officer. So if you're not getting the cooperation from the officer, you get their supervisor. If you're in a government facility and the people in the government facility are not performing correctly, every government facility answers to the White House. So you can communicate with Homeland Security and the Secretary of Defense and other areas of this country where people will actually respond. I had CIA agents respond to me because I had a problem with a security guard in the Middle District Courthouse, and I ended up with CIA escorts in this courthouse to prevent CIA agents from misbehaving in the courthouse. They actually respond if you file a complaint. So you don't got to sit here on the ground level and argue with the guy that's not doing their job correctly. You can go above their head and bypass them. So you have to find out how to navigate around the things that you cannot control. Michael says it's on average $30 per breakfast for bacon and eggs, and that's one third of $100. But it's gonna go up. It's gonna go up even higher. 10 years ago, you could go grocery shopping and get a whole carton of food. Uh, Now can't even get enough food into the baby seat. Yeah, I don't know where you're going with $100 now, because every time I go to the store, it's like $300 to $500 per trip, and I'm over there going to the store twice a month. Then I order every few weeks for them to drop stuff off at the house. It's crazy. Now, what I've just described feels familiar for a lot of you guys. So make sure that y'all like and subscribe and make sure that y'all mash those notification buttons, because if you felt that squeeze, then you get what's at stake. But here's going to be the good news: you aren't powerless, because understanding the problem is the first step to taking back control. In the second half, we are pivoting from the problem to the solution. Like I told y'all, we were halfway through. I got to point out the problem, and then I always give you a solution before I leave the show. I'm going to lay out a clear, actionable playbook with 3 smart moves that you can make right now with a low budget. And not only to protect yourself, but actually to use this chaos to your advantage. Now, if you're finding this valuable, I'm going to tell you one more time: mash those reaction buttons, because we're going to connect the headlines to your wallet and give you an edge. But, and this is the most important word in tonight's whole show, this turmoil, this uncertainty, this fear is not just a risk, it is also an opportunity. He said, some of us can't afford a butler to pick up our groceries. Walmart.com can pick up my groceries. Shit. Drop them motherfuckers off at my doorstep. I am not in the midst of chaos. I will have my eggs delivered to my house the way they used to deliver milk and eggs to your house back in the day when Ford was the only manufacturer making cars that move. Y'all sitting over here remembering back in the day when the milkman used to drop that milk off at your house and pick up the 2 empty bottles of milk. And I'm remembering back in the day when Walmart used to drop my milk and my eggs off on my doorstep 15 minutes before my podcast started, so I didn't have to go to the store that day. I know what's going on. And because you got the Walmart membership, I am not paying the $6.99 for delivery. I bought $40 worth of groceries. They're dropping it at my house for no additional money with no tip. Don't hate. Don't hate. Because I know you're like, damn, you ain't even gonna tip the person. Fuck no, I ain't gonna tip the person. You chose that job and they're paying you to drop my shit off. Why am I giving you extra money to put my groceries on my doorstep when that is the contract that you agreed to with Walmart to deliver my stuff to my door? If you went the extra mile and brought it into my house, I would tip you. But if you put it at my doorstep, why am I going to give you extra to do your damn job? This ain't a restaurant. I don't tip Amazon. I don't tip UPS. I'm not tipping the post office. Why the fuck am I tipping Walmart.com? Drop my shit off at the door. This ain't Postmates. I'm paying for a membership. That's a bit. So I am still paying for the service. Mm. Is that McMahon used to put it directly into the fridge weekly. Man, and look, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I would tip for that. I would tip for that if they putting the milk directly into the fridge. I would be tipping, but they ain't putting shit in the fridge. They leaving the milk sitting on the front porch. So if you know that you got dairy products and perishable products that could potentially spoil in the heat, you got to order that shit to come in as close to nighttime as possible. One of the last deliveries that they're gonna make, and then you know that around about whatever hour they're supposed to drop that shit off, you need to be paying attention to the front door so that you can go out there and go get it. It's either going to be the first delivery first thing in the morning before it starts getting hot, or the last delivery in the middle of the night before they get off, so that it is out there in the coolest climate, so that your milk don't spoil if it got delivered at lunch and you're not outside to go grab it. I'm trying to told you, because it's not like it's signed on delivery. They drop it off, and it's just there until you come get it. Now, for every person panicking and selling, there's someone savvy who's buying it up. And when the stock market plummets, that is the time to buy, buy, buy. So for every door that closes, another one is going to open. And the very same forces creating the silent risks for unprepared uh, individuals that are creating huge low budget opportunities for those who are paying attention to it. So while most people play defense, trying to plug the leaks, you can go on the offense and you can turn this situation from financially draining into a financial engine. So these are the next moves that you're going to be using in your playbook to do exactly that. And this isn't about complex financial wizardry or needing $1 million portfolio. These are three strategic moves grounded in logic that anyone that has a fucking job can use, even if you're just using someone else's money. Walmart is good at notifications, 5 to 10 minutes of delivery. I mean, yeah, you will eventually get that text message that they on their way, but you don't always get that text message that they was at your house. And then when you go back and check the app, it just says delivered. And you're like, oh shit, it's been out there for God knows how long. They don't call you and tell you that they're outside. You know what I mean? If they knock on your door, you're lucky. You know what I mean? But if you got a big ass house and they knock on the front door and you in the bed in the back watching TV, you ain't even know they was out there. It doesn't change the fact that they will deliver your stuff through riots, through ice raids, through military excursions. Walmart is more consistent than the United States Post Office as far as delivering your food. And if for some reason your food gets delivered to the wrong address, they will either refund you or reship your order. One way or another, you're going to get your stuff. It might be late, but it will get there. Unlike the mail that you can't guarantee to show up these days, they taking days off and all this extra shit. Like back in the cut, mail used to you would see post office people that would potentially drop dead trying to deliver mail. Nowadays, shoot, it's past my time. I just deliver it tomorrow. You can't guarantee mail on Saturday and Sunday no more. You used to be able to guarantee mail every day. Now you can guarantee groceries being delivered from Walmart every day. He said, text message, I go to the door. I'm not standing out there. Look, I respect your candor, man, but I can tell you right now, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to be standing outside my door like a starving Ethiopian, hoping to God that Walmart is not going to feel threatened by me in the middle of the night, looking like I'm looking with this good behind hand, trying to take something out of their hands. No, 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 no. If I had a better skin complexion, I might have would have tried that. But no, 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 no. When I'm this dark instead of this light, no, 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 no. I'll let them put it on the doorstep, and then I'll just let open the door and see the groceries and grab them and bring them in. That's how. What does Walmart charge you for a subscription to do that? How does it work? Well, okay, Walmart usually has like $100 a year for the membership, but sometimes they give you promotions where you can do $50 a year, which is approximately about $5 a month that you're going to pay for it. And anytime you order over $35 worth of items, they give you free delivery. So your membership allows you to have all of your groceries dropped off at your house where you don't have to go to the store at all. They have other perks. They have rebates and other stuff like that on the app. And if I was to use the app more often at the grocery store, I could potentially get more rebates at the store. And then there's a special self checkout line for members where you don't have to wait in line with everybody else because it's exclusive to members. But I like talking to human beings and allowing them to have jobs. So instead of going to the machine and doing it myself, I just bring it to them and let them do it for me. So yeah, I don't do night delivery. I don't do day deliveries. I'm working right now. When I finish with this podcast, I got stuff to do. When the sun rises, I'm going to bed. If they drop groceries on my doorstep, it's gonna be on my doorstep till I wake up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm gonna wait until nighttime when I'm awake and have them drop it off in the middle of the night where they out there like Blair Witch Project with a flashlight trying to find the front door. That's what I'm gonna be out there doing. Who's paying the drivers? Walmart.com. The same way Uber pay the drivers, Postmates, Uber Eats, the same way Lyft pay the drivers. These folks get paid by the platform. They don't get paid as much per delivery as they would get paid from being tipped, but they get paid enough to cover the cost of their gas in their town that they out there doing this on a regular basis. Matter of fact, some of these individuals are subcontracted where they got their own vehicle. They got like an SUV, like a I'm trying to think of that Ford transport vehicle that they have. Dodge has one too that it looks just like the UPS vehicle, but it's electric. And they can hold 10, 20, 30 different customers orders in the back of this transport vehicle. And they just collect everybody's stuff and they just go to that certain location, stop, take out the one order, go to that house, drive to the next, go to the house, just like UPS, just like FedEx, just like Amazon, just with people's groceries. So they're making enough money off of doing this that, since I'm paying for the membership to receive free delivery, that I don't have to go the extra mile and be like, let me give you 10% because you dropped off my groceries. If I was not paying for the membership, if it was a free service and they weren't getting paid to come out, then yeah, I give them commission. Like for example, take waitresses. Waitresses, by design, get paid half of minimum wage because their job expects them to get tips. So I expect to start my tipping at about 25% or 22%, and I reduce the tip value based on their performance because I know they are getting half of minimum wage as a base pay plus tip. That's their job model. Commission only individuals. They only get paid from their sales. So I'm not going to have them offering upsell on me. I'm just going to buy the best thing because I know that that'll put more money in their pocket. I am considerate for the other person. But if you're subcontracting too, even if you're getting paid $3 per delivery and you have 75 deliveries for the day, you're still making enough money. That's still $210 for the day minus gas to get to take care of shit off of an 8 hour day, right? It ain't $200 a day or anything like that, but depending on how many deliveries that you make, you're still making a decent quantity of money every day. So I'm thinking about purchasing a small fleet of electric vehicles, then leasing them to drivers for Uber if people want it. Bro, that is a fantastic business model. That's how Hertz started making more money on rental cars. Uber started partnering with Hertz, and then people who didn't own cars would just go to Hertz and rent the car and take out of their deliveries every day, out of their rides every day, the cost of the rental car. So by the end of the month, while they might have would have made $1,500 or $2,000 with the rental car, the cost of owning the rent of being in possession of the rental car would have been taken out of their pay, and they're still making $750 to $1,000 a week worth of driving after they pay for the car. But now you're using their car instead of your car, their insurance, their maintenance plan instead of your insurance and your maintenance plan, putting miles on their shit instead of your shit, and then keeping the difference. It's a fantastic business model. The only problem with leasing out the electric car that I have seen so far is that electric cars are guaranteed to give you 50% of the maximum projected range per charge. And the problem that I have with that is if they're offering 300 miles per charge, you're guaranteed between 75 and 150 miles per charge as long as you don't ride on max capacity. And there's
There it is. All right. So what I was saying, because I'm trying to put this thing back up here. I got a backup plan for the backup plan because the internet is acting it.
donkey over
The
here.
donkey over here.
All right, let me get me back up here. There we go. Wait, nope, this one. All right, good. So what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted from the internet, dang internet, got me 3 bars on this internet performance scenario. What I was saying was, what was I saying? Oh, the rideshare situation. So here's the, I got you, Steven. I ain't going nowhere, man. I got you. She told me too. I got you, bro. I was I was trying to get my mic back on from the phone. So here's what so here's the other issue that I have with the electric chargers. They claim 300 miles per charge. You're guaranteed about 150 miles per charge if you got like one or two people in the vehicle. But if you're riding on max capacity, like all fat people in your vehicle, you're likely to get about 50 to 75 miles per charge. The problem is that you're going to have with that is that you still have that 8 to 12 hours of charge time unless you go to a fast charger. But the fast charger is still going to require you 30 minutes to charge your vehicle, 30 minutes to an hour to charge your vehicle, which is not that's like taking a lunch break. So depending on the distance that you're driving your client, some people are usually less than 20 miles. If you're doing average weight capacity, you're likely to get 150 to 175 miles per charge guaranteed, which is about 1 day's worth of work at approximately 100 miles per day worth of driving, plus a 1 hour break in the middle of that to recharge your vehicle because you still have to, you're going to use power to start your job and then you're going to use power to get home from your last drop off. So you're either going to have a break in there somewhere where you're going to drive 6 hours, charge your car for an hour, drive 4 hours, and then drive back home, or you're going to drive your car for a while and then after you get ready to wrap it up at about 25% battery life, pull over to the next gas station and wait an hour and 30 minutes before you can actually drive home because you, for some reason, took your last client to Miami from Tampa and now you got to drive back to Clearwater to get home. So the electric vehicles are good, but they have not mastered fast charging. And a gas powered vehicle will take all of 5 to 10 minutes to pay at the pump and fill the gas tank, and you can get 150 to 250 miles, 300 miles to the tank, where you're not going to get that refuel time with an electric car. That's the only problem is the damn refuel time. If it wasn't for the refuel time, I'd be all over electric cars right now. It is storming outside, wind gusting towards 50 miles an hour. I know. And when the weather is bad like it is right now, my internet keeps fucking up. It worse than what it usually does. Tesla Roadsters look great. They look great, but they're like what 150 something $1,000, and they get the same damn mileage as a Model Y or a Model Z. They're not. The Cybertruck has not put the tri motor out there. I was on the list for the tri motor, and I regret that. But the fact is that they put out the tri motor, and the tri motor has not been built yet. They've got the dual motor out, and I believe the single motor out, but they do not have the tri motor out. And the tri motor is the one that has the 500-mile range. Now, with that 500-mile range, you're likely to be guaranteed 250 miles. but you're $125,000 for the dual motor. See, she knows her cars. This is the first woman I've met that know cars. She got a Chevy, and she said Tesla's trash. We'll use these new small vehicles. We'll use drop in batteries, pull them out, grab two newly charged ones, and then keep going. Oh yeah, because Kia got those where you've got the adding extra battery packs to the vehicle. So Kia, and I think there was one other model that had that, because the Leaf had one. Nissan. So Kia and Nissan has this opportunity where you can add more battery packs to the vehicle to extend the battery life. And because there is a connection in the trunk where you can do that, at least where I saw it, there is a possibility where you can take some of those extra battery packs out that were dead and put in more battery packs that are not dead and use them. I don't know how to charge the battery packs when they're not in the car though, but it does allow you for the ability to quick swap out and bypass that position where you've got to wait an hour and a half to refuel your vehicle for an electric vehicle. But the problem that I have with that model, even though that is a better model and it does solve the problem, ultimately, it is still a price point problem because these batteries are typically running about $5,000 a battery. I have not heard of an electric battery for an electric car that is less than $5,000. Remanufacture one might be 2,500. So say you bought five extra batteries for your car so that you could pull something like this off. You're at $5,000 a battery. You're upward of 25,000 extra dollars for batteries for the one car. If you're buying a 25 or $30,000 electric car, you might as well just buy two electric cars and just have one on standby, use 55% of the power, drop the car off at the house and grab the other car and go back out and go to work and not have to worry about the biggest effort you're going to have is moving one car, parking the other car, plugging it in, and then getting in the first car and driving off. And that also solves your problem. Just hook on a trailer, which is one big battery for long distance. In that case, bro, you might as well just get the Cybertruck and just use the Cybertruck to charge all of your smaller cars. You can actually park your Cybertruck in a public parking lot that does not have parking restrictions, and then you can drive your car and use your Cybertruck as a relay station to plug your car up to the Cybertruck, charge your car back up, finish doing a drive, and then take your Cybertruck and bring your Cybertruck home. You can have your Cybertruck truck and trailer ready, put it in the back end of a Walmart parking lot somewhere. You can drop your Tesla Y model on the back of a trailer and do the truck and trailer on the far end of a Walmart parking lot because Walmart don't never complain. And then take your car off of the trailer, do rides, come back, get on the Cybertruck, and then drive your car back home. Still $125,000 for the fucking Cybertruck, but you can use it as a backup battery for your Tesla Model Y while you're doing Uber driving. The Chevy Bolt is cheaper than other electric cars, right? But I think they discontinued that one. No, they discontinued the Volt. The Volt was the better one, starts with a V. That one was the hybrid electric car. They discontinued that one. I wish they would not have. The Chevy Bolt is the cheaper one, but it's still getting like 200 miles to the charge. Better to get though, because if you get two bolts cost the price of one Tesla. So instead of buying one Tesla, you just buy two bolts. And like I said, park one, swap one, either way, or carry a Honda generator and gas. Well, you in that case, you can get a Ford Fusion, the hybrid electric car, and put gas in it and let it recharge the electric battery and just save on fuel. But when you're doing hybrid electric vehicles, you're relying more on gas than what you're relying on electricity. Yeah, you're going to get 55 miles to the gallon, or but you're which is like 550 miles to the tank, 600, 700 miles on a 20-gallon tank. But it still requires you to rely on fuel efficiency as opposed to mono electric vehicles. I have not found the efficiency in the recharge time to make mono electric vehicles beneficial, especially in cold climates. Cybertruck's pointless. Never seen them hauling anything. I seen them hauling all kind of stuff with a bent frame. I just never seen them bend the frame back after they finish. Let's just make it 3 bolts. It's still cheaper than one Cybertruck to have 3 bolts. And in that scenario, if you've got 3 bolts, you've got a backup driver. Now you're starting up your own cab company. You got two people in an extra car. You've got a backup scenario. Now, back to it. Um, what we're going to be talking about now is covering a defense play and inflation hedging play and a uniquely powerful offensive play. Cybertrucks are in fact ugly. The only thing that I enjoyed about the design was the 30 times rolled steel that was resistant to 9 millimeter bullets. The reason why I thought that that vehicle, in all of its inefficiency, was a best buy for the average American person was because when it debuted with the standard option of bulletproof windows, that the or bullet resistant windows, that the bullet resistant windows and the bullet resistant side panels would prevent you from having unnecessary injuries during a routine traffic stop since law enforcement shoots first and then realizes they fucked up later. So that was the only value in that vehicle. It's everything else about it is inefficient, but it will protect you in a traffic stop. And that is the most vulnerable place an American citizen can be. The drone strikes in California that are being warned on the news right now is not nearly as dangerous as the routine traffic stop that happens on our streets. And it is not even a race related routine traffic stop because all you have to do is be in front of a bad cop with a bad attitude or a good cop with bad judgment, and you could get gunned down on a misunderstanding. So the vehicle served a specific purpose of giving you the ability to not get shot before the supervisor shows up, right? That was its only value. But when you start talking about 125, $130,000, you've got other manufacturers that are rebuilding Lexus, Mercedes, Range Rovers, um, for the same price for $150,000, full on bulletproof everything. You've got Resvani that's got the Resvani tank starting at around 150, $250,000, where the top model with the smoke screen and the electrified doors and the pepper spray on the windows and 360 degree surveillance is allowing for that particular type of vehicle that is the same size as a Chevy Suburban that's hitting at like $500,000. If you could really afford protection from a traffic stop going wrong, you might want to get you a vehicle that's got some smoke screens and some oil slicks and some, you know what I mean? They like to snatch the door and try to act bad with snatching the door. I kind of just want to have that electricity on so that when they touch the door to get electrocuted, they're going to be sitting over there telling me, oh, get out of the car. No, sir. And then when they touch the door to get fried, I know I'm going to catch a case for that. But at the end of the day, I told them don't touch the door. There was a sign on the window that says vehicle charged. Driver, roll down your window. Drive. No, I'm not rolling down shit. I'm gonna crack the window. I'm gonna leave my engine running. I'll put it in park. I'm gonna put on the park brake. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do some dope shit. Here's a hood trick that not too many people realize. Because the police tell you to put your car in park and then turn off the engine because most cars automatically unlock the doors, which gives law enforcement the ability to unlawfully enter your vehicle. First and foremost, go to the standard issue in the menu in your vehicle and turn off automatic door unlock. Turn that off. Turn that feature off. So none of your doors unlock when you turn it off. Second thing you want to do, just to be sure that this works, put your car in neutral. Turn the car off, then put it in park. It will not unlock the car as long as the car was in neutral when you turned off the engine. Then you put it in park. It will not unlock the doors. And if you put the car in neutral, pull the park brake, and turn the car off, and they can't tell, oh, he's trying to flee. Now the car is in, and you can also go one step further. You could put the car in reverse after you turn the car off, have the emergency brake on, the car is locked, You can't get the key out of the ignition because it's not in park. I can't do anything else. They're going to be sitting there looking stupid. So this disables the car from being able to flee, but it keeps you locked inside of the car. What's the title of that book above your head? That is going to be me blocking you for being a dumbass. I already told y'all every time y'all come to the show that if y'all start making sly ass comments about the damn curtain that's behind me to cover the blackout drapes for the window I'm sitting in front of, I'm gonna block you. I ain't even gonna fucking entertain that shit. I don't even play that, because if I was to, it, if you ain't got nothing positive to say on a topic, just watch the show. He said, "My name is Bond, James Bond." Exactly. You like eating glass. Yes, I drive a stick. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you drive a stick. So you put your car in neutral, pull your emergency brake, and then turn off your vehicle. Do not allow your vehicle's doors to unlock themselves. I would drive a stick because it's safer because the stick shift doesn't automatically unlock your car doors either. I'm trying to tell y'all, people don't understand. I'm trying to keep y'all safe out here. I'm trying to protect your wallets and your decision making skills. Now, the first move we're going to talk about is the defensive play, fortifying your financial fortress. Before you even think about offense, you need an unbreakable defense. See what Peyton Manning had, what Tom Brady had. What was that? The Patriots offensive line. What they had was a half-ass decent defense. In the world of rising prices and shaky markets, cash is not trash the way Tesla is. Cash is your shield. So the first and most critical move is to radically reinforce your financial foundation. First, debt neutralization. High interest debt, especially on credit cards. I told you this before. It's a monster that gets stronger with inflation. If inflation is 4%, your credit card rate is 22%, you're losing 26% on every dollar that balance holds. So it's going to be like trying to swim up a waterfall. Before you invest a dime, get ruthless about wiping out that debt. The geopolitical uncertainty makes this urgent. Central banks might keep interest rates high to fight these price shocks, meaning the interest rate cuts that happen in December are not going to benefit you as much right now during the chaos. And your vulnerable variable rates for debt could get even more expensive because a variable rate credit card allows them to modify the interest rates at their discretion without advance knowledge to you. You just so happen to roll over your bank statement and now have more shit to pay than what you thought. Like Michael said, cash is king. So forget fancy investments. Paying off a 22% credit card is a guaranteed 22% return. Second, your emergency fund, reinforcements. You've heard 3 to 6 months of living expenses. I tell you, 12 to 18 months. In an environment like this one, you need to rethink what living expenses means. We just saw how the family's budget was slightly and silently eaten up by over $100 a month. We just seen the shutdown that just happened in January that's still negatively impacting TSA agents in March. Your emergency fund needs to be based on tomorrow's prices, not yesterday's. So you want to look at your budget and add a 10 to 15% instability buffer and make that your new 6 month target, or as I tell you, 12 to 18-month target. This isn't just for job losses anymore, it is for absorption and sudden $1,000 car repairs when parts like uh, common woman's Chevy costing her extra money. Those parts can spike, or a 30% jump in your heating bill, like what we're experiencing right now, like what happened to some of the northern states that are connected to Canada. This fund is what lets you ignore market dips and make smart decisions instead of panic selling. He says 12 to 18 months emergency funds make more sense. People tell you 3 to 6 months because, take for example, what happened with the shutdown in October. October, November, 6 weeks of shutdown. By the middle of November, everything was ready to go back up. You started getting your first check in it at the end of November, beginning of December, and out of 90 days, you only had about 45 or 55 days of inconvenience. That's the standard average. However, they also say 6 months. And the reason why they say 6 months traditionally is because if you experience a car crash, you're likely to be out of work for 6 months. And then you settle your car insurance claim and take the money and start recouping losses. So if you put money aside for a government shutdown or put money aside for a car crash, you're likely to be back on your feet and working before you run out of money. However, I am saying 12 to 18 months. And the reason why I'm saying 12 to 18 months is because if you're going to be pandemic ready when we was out of work for a whole year and then we had 6 more months worth of recovery after that, and we're talking about people losing their jobs right now in tech companies and spending God knows how long trying to find another job, and you're being replaced by machines. So it's not like you can go to the competitor because the competitor was fully staffed. Now is not the time to say, oh, I could find me a job in 6 months. Now is the time to say, I might not have a job for a year and a half. So it is better for you to put 18 months aside to give you 2 months to get your head back right, 1 month to rest, and then the rest of the time to figure out where the fuck you're going to work, because you can start up your own business, you can start up your own side hustle, you can do something else if you have a year to 18 months worth of extra money sitting aside. If you've only got 90 days left, you've got to pay your bills and then pray to God that money comes in before your money runs out. And you can't have a catastrophe and be unemployed at the same time. That's going to eat up your money even faster. So if you was out of work for 3 months and then your car broke down and that's going to cost you $2,500 for a transmission, that's a month and a half worth of income that's gone. If you only had 3 months of money there, $15,000, and you just use $5,000 on a transmission, if your standard of living is $5,000 a month, that was 1 month worth of money just to fix the car so you can take your ass back to work. That's 12 to 18 months makes more sense to me. Next year is covered this year. That makes more sense to me. And 18 months covers inflation for a 12-month stay. You know what I mean? I can drive stick too, prefer a motorcycle. I used to ride a motorcycle, but I'm going to be honest with you that motorcycle riders are more dangerous than car riders. No matter how bad car riders act, motorcycle riders deliberately put themselves in unconscionable positions. And I respect you as a person, but I do not believe that motorcycles should be lane splitting. I don't believe they should be swerving in between cars. I don't believe that they should be riding in between parked vehicles, or not parked vehicles, but still vehicles on a highway. I do not believe that they should be trying to take advantage of the little space in between a vehicle and the side of the road. I believe that they should stay in the lane behind the vehicle in front of them. And if they have to, two or three motorcycles next to one another to take up the space of a whole car, and just really stay in the lane. If you're riding on the dotted line, if you're riding on the red strip, if you're riding on the yellow line on one side or riding on the white line on the other side, or if you're completely off road in any situation, you should be treated like a reckless driver. That's my personal perspective. If you're already a very small vehicle that is capable of doubling the speed limit at any given time, and you're not just doing a speed limit, you're doing 20, 30 miles over the speed limit on a regular basis, then you get with a hothead and y'all start drag racing one another 100 miles an hour because what cop's going to chase you? And then you get pissed off when you get broadsided by a car and you blame the car. You believe that you got right away, and I disagree with that, because you can see them when they can't see you. It's your responsibility to get out of their way. The same way the trucker does not always have the right of way. You can see that truck before that truck can see you. Get out of that trucker's way the same way a motorcyclist should get out of a car's way. Plain and simple. That's my personal perspective. I ain't trying to bash on motorcycle riders, but I do believe that first person accountability with the motorcyclist needs to be more profound than it is with a regular car driver. I still believe that truckers should be a little bit more cautious about what they're doing. But at the same time, I also believe that a car should get the fuck out of the way of a big ass truck making a right turn out of the left lane with a trailer on the back of it. I just don't believe that you should be passing a rig on the right for any reason. If it got in the left lane and it's got its right blinker on, it's time for you to stop your car because that big ass truck can outdo you. And if you hit it, you're going to be spending more money on damage than they are. Because that ain't even a trailer half the time. They just got the cab. He said 2.65% on 30-year fixed rate for homes in January 2021. Yeah. And look at right now in March of 2026, a 6.5%. At the lowest, if you got really high credit scores, you might see 5.99%. But if you've got bad credit closer to 600, you're looking at 6.95%. Shit ain't going nowhere. He said motorcycles are great until you get into an accident. And that's why I was talking about that just for a moment there, because I strongly believe that while motorcycle riders, I mean, I used to have one. I had a Honda Nighthawk 250. I have no problems with motorcycles. I just don't like the way that drivers are using them with the false sense of entitlement because they aren't getting ticketed as much as they should. Then they feel like they're being picked on by the police because they weren't caught when they were reckless driving. And now that they're being caught off guard when they're not reckless driving, they don't believe that they should be penalized for the one time they got away. No, you should be made an example of for each person that got away so that everybody else cuts that bullshit out. The same way black folks got arrested for being outside for being black because all the black folks that got away with committing crime is now all the black people going to jail. Just like right now, all the Mexicans are being got just because a few hundred million Mexicans came across the border without a passport. All the Mexicans are being mistreated because some of them didn't do right. All of y'all who did do right, everybody gonna get treated the same way. So as society has done uniformly. One bad apple make the whole basket spoil, so one bad apple gonna get thrown in the trash, and all the good apples get thrown in the trash too. One bad motorcyclist make all motorcyclists look bad, so now all the motorcyclists are gonna have a harder time riding on the road. I'm just being uniform about that situation. But I love motorcycles, riding them. I love driving them, but I am not riding a motorcycle these days because the cars don't know how to act already. So when the cars don't know how to act on the road, and then the motorcycle riders don't know how to act on the road neither, that's just way worse. That's just way worse. You're asking to get yourself hurt. Then you want to try to overtake a car that's dealing with road rage. If you can't avoid a car crash in a car with a car that has road rage, how do you think you're going to battle against that same road raging car on a motorcycle? I seen a video with a dude that was on TikTok. He was trying to pass a car that passed him. Bro, if that fucking car passed you and you got a passenger on the back, just let him go. Oh, you trying to pass him? I got the right of way to pass on the right. Ain't no law said that no motorcyclist can pass on the right. You pass on the left. If you're passing a car on the right, where the car is in the left lane, already speeding. He passed you. So that means that he's already going faster than the speed limit. You are going to go faster than that and pass him on the right side. And all the motorcyclists were in that comment section like, oh, yeah, the motorcyclist didn't do anything wrong. Fuck that. The Mercedes that was in the left lane was speeding. He was reckless driving when he passed you. You're now reckless driving because you're speeding faster than him, trying to pass him. And you got a passenger on the back. You should be ashamed of yourself because that little girl riding on the back of that bike could have got killed because you're making bad decisions. When that car passed your ass, if you're doing 75, 80 miles an hour and a car passed you at 90, you need to leave that fucking car alone and just slow down, do the speed limit, let that car get some distance between you and your crew, and don't let your passenger get hurt. Don't sit over here and try to make it seem like, oh, I'm the victim because I tried to overtake this car and the car tried to slam into me. Bro, no. That makes no damn sense. I just don't believe that you should deliberately put yourself in a situation where you or somebody which you can get hurt and then you're going to play the victim and say, oh, because I knew this other person was an asshole, that I am the victim because they should not be an asshole. No, no. If I'm at a nightclub and there is a mosh pit in the middle of the dance floor, and y'all know what a mosh pit is, that's where everybody in the middle of the thing is punching and swinging at each other as a dance move. And people are getting hit in the face and kicked and everything to that effect, and they don't care that they're being hit. If you know that that's what's happening on the dance floor, why the fuck are you gonna go over there and call yourself trying to crit walk in the middle of a mob pit? You're gonna get your ass whooped. Then you're gonna say, "Oh, he hit me first." No, you walked into that goddamn punch. You asked to get your ass whooped. So once you got your ass whooped and got kicked out the club, don't play a victim. Oh, they didn't target you. You targeted that group and you went over there and got your ass whooped. That's why I be telling motorcyclists, you're targeting the car that passed your ass and you got your ass whooped. You deserve to lose your motorcycle. Now start driving a car and stop being a Karen. Greatly appreciated. That's my public service announcements about bikers. Now I know that some bikers are not going to like hearing that, but I'm just going to be real with you. I have never, not one time, out of all the many times I have rode a bike, ever had a problem where I had to deliberately pass a car by riding in between two cars, riding on the side of the road, or anything else to that matter. Where the fuck are you going that damn fast? What do you got to do in a day that you can't wait? Your turn, like every other vehicle on the road. Sheesh. Then you get mad if they swing a door open and you flip over the bike. If you wouldn't have been trying to cut through the traffic and shit wouldn't happen. She said, yeah, some states just made it legal for motorcyclists to weave in and out of traffic. Yeah, I know. And while they made that legal, just because you can weave in and out of traffic doesn't mean you should. Just because you can walk into a Chipotle with an AR-15 because it's Second Amendment constitutional right doesn't mean you should. So while we understand rights versus responsibility, your responsibility to not deliberately endanger other people's safety simply because you have the legal right to implies that you should not do it, even though that you legally can do it. You should not shoot a man in the back after he robbed your house, even though you legally can do it. And this is the reason why people have reasonable liability on both sides. In certain states like Florida, it's a no fault state because you had reasonable liability on your side and they had reasonable liability on their side. If you were the most responsible person in this scenario, guess what? You wouldn't be in this fucking scenario. Either leave employees alone. If you had road rage, get a CDL. That's true. Young people are ignorant, but that's the next generation of road rage. That's the next generation of road rage because the 18 to 25-year-olds are getting out their car with Glock switches. 25 to 30 years old, they fist fighting in the street. 40 and 50 years old, they just ramming their car into you and driving off. 60-year-old, they being driven by somebody else doing the same stupid shit. Now, back to the main topic. The third thing I want you guys to start paying attention to is cash allocation strategies. So don't let the emergency fund rot in a checking account or earning nothing. That's going to be a guaranteed loss to inflation. So at minimum, you want to put it into a high yield savings account. Stephen was looking into a lot of those. And then even better, you want to consider laddering short term US Treasury bonds or T bills. They're considered one of the safest assets on the planet and is a rising rate environment. Or it's in a rising rate environment. So it's very good to utilize. Their interest rates are not as high as the 18% interest rates that I'd be telling you about with the real estate investment trust, but typically around 4 to 5% interest is still pretty good if you're staggering them. Like I told you guys before, if you're having either 30-day or 90-day or 1 year um, scenarios where you put like $5,000 up for 12 months and you set up one of those to expire every 30 days, where next year, every month you have one maturing where you can either add it all back in or take some out and add up something else. And you're always benefiting from every month being able to get some money from last year's return. That's one of the best ways to go about getting it done. Right. So buying T bills that mature every month or every few months, that's going to keep source. Yes, that's right. Uh, That's going to keep your money accessible while earning real returns over time, turning your defense into a productive asset. So instead of just leaving 25 or $30,000 sitting in a bank account, you can have that $30,000 in like 2,500 or $5,000 per month installment scenarios in revolving T bills with the government, which will help you out. Oh, okay. So he's one of those Jesus loves you guys. Now move number two, the inflation hedge anticipation. Do not react. The second move is about playing chess, not checkers. So it's going to be about looking at a broad and clearly obvious board, and then you want to see where price hikes will happen before they hit the shelves. Reacting is what everyone else does, and we're going to front run it. Okay, so we know the pressure point here. Trade distributions will hit certain Spanish goods harder than others. So you want to think about the classic high quality products that Spain is known for. In the food area, you have olives, premium olive oil, wine from regions like Roja, cured meats like Jamon Iberico, and certain cheeses. Goods, he said, emergency funds should be easily available. Chaos is always knocking at your door. Emergency funds should be easily available, but when you think about easily available, we've talked about this on a show plenty of times before. There's nothing that you've got going on in your life that requires you to have money today. You need to have money reasonably accessible. Typically, within a week to 10 days is probably the best way to go, right? Now, because again, you can't think of anything that's happening directly to you in your life that will require you to have money today. If you're properly maintaining your car and you have a spare tire, if you get a flat, you can change it yourself today, buy a tire next month. You don't have to buy a tire today. If you're not taking care of your car and you're not being responsible, you got four ball tires, you end up with two flats, you can't afford to pay for a tire. Now you got to dip into your money. But you can also pay for a tow truck. If you've got AAA, you get your towing covered under a premium that should already be factored into your monthly spending. If you don't have AAA and you have towing on your car insurance, you're going to activate your car insurance, wait 5 hours, but you're still going to get towed at a reasonable period of time, at least once a year. But if you're paying out of pocket for a tow, that could be between 100 and $250. You can charge it to your credit card, so you don't necessarily need the money today. You just need it before the end of the billing cycle of your credit card. Medical emergencies. If you go to the hospital, they send you a bill after you've been discharged. You don't have to pay for medical treatment when you get to the hospital. They stabilize you, they discharge you, and then you get the bill. And these days, you can staple that shit to your credit report. They're not going to negatively impact your credit score if you don't pay your medical bills. Um, Outside of that, if your house burns down or gets flooded out, check into a hotel, charge that to a credit card. There's nothing there that requires you to have cash money on hand right then and there. If your money's sitting in a bank account instead of sitting in a safe in your house and there's a power outage in your entire city, you can't spend your credit or debit cards anyway. So if you don't have $5,000 worth of cash in a safe in your house, you don't have any cash to buy anything anyway. But if you already got a full tank of gas until the power comes back, you've got at least a couple days worth of, if not a couple weeks worth of gas in your vehicle because who's going to work if there's no power? Now, when you start talking about other people's bullshit, that's when you have emergency money that you have to have right now. When your kids fuck something up and they can't fix it, then they come and tell you about it. You got to spend money right now. That's not you. That's somebody else's problems. When your homie gets arrested and you're trying to bail them out within 8 hours of them being locked up, that's not you. That's somebody else having a fucking problem. Traffic tickets. You don't got to pay that right now. You got to pay that later. That's not something that you got to deal with right now. You get a judgment from a judge. You got 30 days to tackle that judgment, and you can always file a motion to extend based on financial difficulties. You don't have to pay that right now. As long as you're on top of your shit, there's literally nothing that you have to do right now today that can't wait 2 weeks for the money to clear the bank. So technically, you can put your money into something that might take a couple of weeks for you to get it back. It just can't be something that's going to be so tied up that if you try to take it back, that it's going to charge you money. So it should be easily accessible to the fact that you're not going to have fees and penalties for the withdrawal. But it should not be so easily accessible that you're not making any money off of the money that you're not using. It's to keep building your emergency fund as you build your assets. That's right. And you want to build multiple areas You don't want to build multiple areas. Oh no, you want to build multiple areas of revenue so that you have a lot of money coming in from a lot of different places at a lot of different times, so that you're not getting paid once a month. If you could set it up where money's coming to you twice a month or every week, if you don't have any money next week, you've got money coming in next week so that you can go ahead and take care of what you got to take care of so that you don't got to start tapping into none of your resources, right? Don't buy one tire, buy two. I mean, you're right. You should buy a full set of tires. You when you get a flat, you should change your spare. And then when you change your spare, change the worst tire on your car. You should always buy at least two. That way you have the second worst tire in your car is the spare. Your best tire on your car used to be your spare. Your second best tire on the car is the tire that you just bought. And then you got two moderate tires on the car as well. And if you put the tires with the best tread on the drivetrain, front wheel drive, front wheel tires, rear wheel drive, rear wheel tires. If you put the best traction tires on the drivetrain, you don't have to worry about slipping. You don't have to worry about losing control of your vehicle or wasting a lot of gas and fuel on sliding and skidding and everything to that effect, which reduces accidents. People don't think about that either. The Spanish government better send a gift basket with olive oil, home, and vines to Putin. Bro, if they send a gift basket from Spain, we're going to get hit with tariffs. It's crazy. Now, let's talk about these goods that we want to pay attention to. High quality ceramic tiles. When we start talking about travel, the cost of a trip to Spain could rise due to currency swings or just bad blood between the two countries. So, how do you hedge this? First, strategic substitution and stockpiling. If you use a lot of Spanish olive oil, now's the time to find a Californian or Italian alternative that you like just as much. Or if you love your spinach brands, consider buying in bulk now before tariffs hit. It's also best to buy enough in bulk that can be used. You don't want to buy it and then it goes bad before you get a chance to use it, right? Now, a few large tins in the pantry might seem silly, but if a 25% tariff lands, you've just locked in a 25% savings until you have to restock. This works for any non perishable goods that you use that fall into these at risk categories. He says, finance is like a jacket, it should have lots of pockets. You're right. But finance is also like a wardrobe. You should have more than one jacket. Just in case one doesn't work, you got another one. Second thing is you want to budget and reallocate. Treat your budget like a dynamic war plan. If you know that dining out and imported goods are going to get more expensive, proactively decide where you can cut back to cover that. By making the choice now, you stay in control. You're not forced into a tough spot later when the money is already gone. You're already prepared for this. Preventative maintenance. Third, broader commodity exposure. If you have a little speculative capital, you can think bigger. The theme of this conflict is energy inflation. While buying oil futures is too complex for most people, you can get exposure through simple exchange trade funds, ETFs. There are ETFs that track broad commodities or specifically the entire sector, the entire energy sector. So investing a small slice of your portfolio between 1 and 3% in energy ETFs can act as a direct hedge. So if your gas and utility bills go up, the value of your energy ETFs should also rise, helping to offset your higher costs. It's an advanced move, but it illustrates the principle. Find an asset that benefits from the very thing that's going to cost you money and invest in it. Move number three, offensive plays, the graphic and digital arbitrage. This is the most powerful move that we're going to turn the whole situation on its head and build wealth with. The concept is arbitrage. exploiting a price difference between two markets. The geographic and currency arbitrage, while political tensions are here and they're high, Spain itself remains open, safe, and dramatically cheaper than the United States. You can still go there with a US visa. You can still establish residency and everything else over there. They're not under attack by anybody right now. But how cheap are we talking about? So, if we use a real number like $3,000 a month in most major cities, that is barely survival mode money. In Spain, on roughly 3,000 US dollars a month, which is about 2,700 to 2,800 euros, a current rate assessment, you can live comfortably, especially if you look outside the high cost zones of Madrid and Barcelona. So let's break down what the budget buys you based on the current 2026 expat data. For a single person, a comfortable budget, including rent in many cities, is between 1,500 and 2,000 euros a month, leaving a huge surplus from your $3,000 income for savings and travel. Couple a couple living in a smaller city like Granada or Alicante or Cordoba could have a great lifestyle for around 1,830 euros a month, covering a central two-bedroom apartment, private health care, transport, and going out. A family of four could live in the popular city of Valencia for about $2,805 a month in euros. And even in Madrid, a family could manage on 3,000 to 3,500 euros. Though it's a little tighter, it's still doable. He said, what's that old saying? Plan for the worst and hope for the best and take whatever happens in between. That is right. That is right. So, with a monthly income of about 2,700 euros, you can live very comfortably as a solo person or a couple in fantastic secondary cities like Valencia, Seville, or Cordoba. And we're talking about a decent apartment, private health insurance, eating out weekly, and money for travel. So if you want maximum comfort and savings, you can look at even cheaper, beautiful cities like Lugo, uh, Juan, Zamora, Ovidio, or what is that, Caceres? In these places, a two-bedroom apartment can run around 500 to 600 euros, and you're totally living with the final cost that's about 10 to 14% below the already low national average. So don't think I was just gonna talk about the world. I was gonna talk about because we're gonna cover that. Then we're gonna cover the family oriented family style that they got over there. We're gonna cover that next. He says the Spain people complain that foreigners are pushing up their rents. No, the landlord is pushing up the rent, and foreigners are willing to pay the price. That's greed. Is that I thought Spain had universal health care. Um, okay, so Spain itself has the ability to have healthcare, and every country around the world has the ability to have healthcare. But just like your Florida Blue health plan isn't an international health insurance, there is international health insurance providers in the United States that will cover you when you travel to another country. Even though Spain may have its own universal health care providers stationed in Spain, if you don't buy it from a Spanish provider before you go, you can get you some kind of health coverage while you're there or bring health coverage with you. What was it? The geo healthcare scenario, which is the traveling health coverage that's starting to become a trend nowadays. along with the geotourism and the geo camping, where they are now turning a 3-story spa resort in the jungle into a camping facility. That's not camping. Camping is fucking tents from Home Depot in your backyard kind of shit. Camping is like, you know, a group tent from Lowe's that you put out in the woods somewhere. It's not a resort with spas and massages and towels, but that's what the wealthy people are calling camping nowadays. We're gonna go camping in the mountains, in the Everglades, which it's a big ass resort, a members only resort. $1,500 a month, or no, $1,500 a night for you to fly out there and have somebody rub your feet and rub your back, and you stay inside and you call that camping. These folks is tripping right now, but you can get healthcare from anywhere. Now, here's the arbitrage. Earning strong US dollars from a remote job, which is why I teach you guys all of the different ways that y'all can make money from your computer, where you can basically get an American income from an American business that you start up or you work with or work for off of your computer, and then spend that money in a cheaper Eurozone. That's going to be the classic wealth building move. And the visas, this is where it gets good. Spain now has a digital nomad visa, and a lot of countries are starting to do this. They used to have a work visa where you have to work for one of their companies in their country. Most countries used to have that. Then they had the business visa where you must start up a business in one of their countries. Now they have the digital nomad visas where you just have to bring money from another country and spend it in their country and show them that you have a reoccurring income, which makes it easier for startups and small business owners, C corporations, LLCs, uh, 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 digital nomad individual freelance workers to live in other countries a lot cheaper, a lot better, a lot more efficiently. Okay. Now, the income requirement in this area is for a single applicant around 2,850 euros per month, which is right under our $3,000 per US dollar target zone. So with a stable remote work contract, where and $3,000 a month is like 1,500 a biweekly paycheck, which is approximately like $750 a week. So $3,000 a month is approximately $36,000 a year, and you're living a middle to upper middle class standard of living in Spain. 36,000 a year. Women in America don't even want to talk to your ass if you're making $50,000 a year. But $36,000 a year, you can go and live in Spain and the Philippines and Vietnam and Japan, Singapore. The list keeps going. And that's why the American women are like, oh, these broke ass men, passport bros flying to another country because they broke and they can impress the women. No, it's the fact that the standard of living is 20 to 30% the standard of living in America, and you can take the same effort that you're putting in America to live poor and go to another country and live rich without having to do more work. And then the women are going to respect you because they were taught to respect people, not because you're bribing them. Clearly, it's cheaper to bribe them because, I mean, cost of everything is cheaper. He said Japan blue zone. It is what it is. As y'all come through, make sure that y'all hit those like buttons and hit those reaction buttons as we keep going, because we got about 20 pages left. So we got about 20 minutes left on this, plus colorful commentary. Now, with a stable remote work contract, this visa is going to be your legal key to unlocking the geographic arbitrage. But this isn't just about saving money, it is also about a different quality of life, because Spain is a culture where family is central. It's the whole culture. America, Western culture, does not have family at its center. It has getting money at its center. The hustle mentality is the center of the culture of the United States. So everything down to meeting new friends in America is all about making money. So when you call yourself trying to establish a relationship and build a family in America, it is all about making money. You're investing in the other person, they're investing in you. right? Somebody's spending money somewhere, and the output expectation is that I'm going to benefit from this financially in the long run, right? So while we understand that Spain remains socially liberal, it is going to be a little bit of a unique blend. Family ties are incredibly strong. Adults often live near their parents, and the Sunday family lunch is a non negotiable weekly ritual. Family approval can be a big factor in a serious relationship. However, this isn't a throwback to conservative gender roles. The dating style is going to be warm, expressive, and social, which is different from what was that country we were talking about? Finland, I think it was. Finland and Switzerland, those two countries, they were just like, woo. Now, the people blend modern views on gender equality and cohabitation with a deep loyalty to family tradition here in Spain. So, if you're looking for that kind of family mindedness, culture, and a calmer lifestyle, the key is to favor mid sized, less tourist driven cities like Valencia, Seville, or Oviedo over the international party hubs like Barcelona and uh, Ibiza. And the fastest way to integrate is to learn Spanish before you go. In the US, you live to work, and in Spain, you work to live. Yes, sir. That's why we have that I'll work till I die mentality in America. Sleeping is for the weak. I'll sleep when I'm dead because you're going to work till you drop. But in other countries, the culture's dynamic is you live and then you go to work. Live life. It's about building memories. Your life is supposed to be about sharing the best things in your life with the people that matter to you. It is not about the grind. Okay. Well, we make it about the grind because we never have enough. And whenever we start getting more than what we need, we waste it on getting more stuff because we never feel like we have enough because we're used to never having enough. Lifestyle creep, right? Now, long term partners are found through local social networks, not social media or dating apps. And it's going to be through community events, not expat nightclubs. So, to put this all together, here are your options on a $3,000 a month budget. If you want a cheap quality life with maximum savings, look at a city like Lugo, Zamora, or Zane. Then they have strong local communities and are perfect if you're working online. You now want to blend your lifestyle with great services and a social scene, but still affordable. You can go to cities like Valencia, uh, Alcante, Granada, and Seville because they're top tier choices for long term expats and families. And at the high cost of big metros like Madrid and Barcelona, you can survive on $3,000, but it would be a much smaller margin for error and saving, but it is still possible. Now, this is going to be the ultimate offensive play because you're trading high stress and high cost life for one with a lower cost and potentially higher quality, all while your dollars go further than ever before. Now, what if you don't want to move? You can still use the situation to your advantage. The key is to leverage the information gap. You understand what's happening. Most people don't, unless they came to the show. So the biggest opportunity is in niche content creation. So you want to start a YouTube channel if you haven't already joined one, and then create a newsletter or a blog focused on this exact topic. You want to call it something like the Spain US Money Report or something similar. You can create content explaining the political tensions, analyzing which products might face tariffs, documenting the cost of living in secondary Spanish cities, or walking people through the digital nomad visa process. And this is going to be a business with almost zero startup costs because you're doing it online. You can monetize it with ads, affiliate marketing, and eventually your own digital products like a guide to moving to Valencia on a budget. And you're turning your niche knowledge into a cash flow asset. Just taking everything, like you guys told me before, I should write a book about a lot of the stuff that I talk about. Just taking the time out of my day just to turn all of this information into lifelong generational facts that can be regurgitated over generations. I could build a whole um novel series based on all the information that I've learned and obtained. Now, another play is to become a remote arbitrage service provider. People will still want to move to or invest in Spain, and they now are more nervous than ever. So, for a fee, you can position yourself as a Spanish relocation consultant or a remote property scout, offering to shortlist apartments, do video walkthroughs, or help with initial paperwork. You're selling your expertise to people who have the money but not the time to deal with the uncertainty. These digital plays are the ultimate offensive move, spinning this geopolitical tension into pure location independent income. So let's bring it all home. A political feud between the United States and Spain is creating a silent, creeping drain on your finances through market volatility, tariffs, and supply chain shocks. Most people will just feel the squeeze like pawns on a chessboard. They don't understand. But you are now equipped to be a player. You know the three-pronged strategy. With defense, you build a financial fortress by killing the debt and reinforce your emergency fund, making yourself immune to short-term shocks. Then with the hedging, you want to anticipate rising prices by strategically substituting and stockpiling at-risk goods, preparing yourself and your budget for the inevitable hits. Then you go on the offensive, go on the attack and explore the incredible value of geographic arbitrage by living in Spain on a US income or launching a low cost digital business that capitalizes on the information gap, which is the very conflict that this situation has created. You can't control what's happening in Washington or in Madrid, but you absolutely have the ability to control your own responses over what's happening. You can be a passive victim of these global currents, or you can be an active player, building a strategy that not only protects you, but seizes the opportunity. The choice is going to be yours. Now, I want to know what you think. Which of these risks worries you the most? And which of these opportunities seems more compelling? Drop your thoughts in the comments whenever you have the opportunity because I read every single one of them until they start becoming too many of them to read at one time. And our discussion is going to be one of the most valuable parts of our community because if you want to keep going deeper and you want to keep diving into how global events affect your money, you have to make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit those notification buttons on this channel. And you have to come back here every day to find out what is the next thing that I'm going to tell you about the next situation that is going to impact your bottom dollar. He says, had a cousin retire from the military and moved to the Philippines and got married, they treated him like king. Yeah, because you can go to the Philippines and you can find a woman that's willing to dedicate herself to a man for 15 to 20 years before she gives up on him, where a woman in America would give up on a man within 30 days just because he's not spending enough money on her. You have the women in the Philippines that's willing to take care of the man's parents, and the man's children just because he's willing to take care of her and her family, where a man in America can take care of the girl and all of her friends and the woman still wants more. The value of a man goes further in the Philippines than the value of a man in America. But the money from a man in the Philippines goes a lot further than the money from a man in America, also. So it's a big, big difference in the culture because the women are taught in the Philippines to value their men. The women are taught in America that men ain't shit and the women can do better without the men. But the women look for a man that is better than the best that woman can be. And if you find somebody that can do you better than you, that person is better than you. That person is going to elevate your lifestyle. You can't say that we're equals if you're living life better than I am and you're going to elevate me to your lifestyle. We're not on the same level. And that's one of the things that people don't pay attention to. He said, I'm about to order a gallon of that good Bragg's olive oil. Bro, I'm going to the store tomorrow. Tomorrow Thursday. I'm off on Thursday. I'm going to the store tomorrow. I'm about to be like 20 bags of groceries. Every time I go to Walmart, it's a big ass shopping cart. The one thing I really want to do, and I haven't been able to do it yet, I am trying to find a reasonably positionable cart so that I can. It's going to be like a little wagon, so that I can tie it to the dog and walk through the store where the dog is carrying the shopping cart. That's what I'm looking for. I want to like put a harness on him and everything like that, and just carry him to the store. But usually the ones that they give us are not ones that are able to be assembled from the car. But when I find one that can, like one that's fold down, stick it in the trunk kind of thing, or fold down, stick it in the back seat kind of thing, and then I can like take it with me to Walmart, I guarantee you I'm gonna go viral because I'm gonna go to the store. He's gonna drag the cart. Yeah, that's right. You're gonna drag the cart, and then I'm I'm gonna fill the cart with groceries and take them to the register and make them be still while I load the groceries onto the thing. And I'm gonna add icing on the cake because as we walk, I'm gonna yell "mush, Simba, mush," or even worse, I'm gonna make people uncomfortable and say "ya kunta, kunta kinte ya." Have everybody looking at me like Uncle Ruckus. But when I do, I'm gonna let y'all know about it. But yeah, uncommon woman, it is true that a man is gonna live like a king in the Philippines because truth be told, uh, you need a $24,000 a year income to get a digital nomad visa in the Philippines. If you find a way to get to the Philippines with a $65,000 a year income, you are able to take care of three families in the Philippines. So a man can have a polygamy lifestyle in the Philippines where he has two girlfriends or three girlfriends. As long as he's taking care of their families, they don't care. As long as everybody's taken care of, they don't care. He'll have like three baby mamas all living in the same house with him, and they don't care. In America, they'd be fighting over, 'em, but they don't care. So yeah, you got to look at that. She said it's called a wagon. I know what it's supposed to be called, but if you look up an actual wagon, what they're going to have is that big ass long rectangle looking wagon that doesn't have it, and it's got four wheels on it, and it's the wagon that we could pull the dog in. Then the other wagon that they list online is the baby carriage that you shove the dog in. I'm not talking about either one of those. It is literally supposed to be a two-wheel chariot style cart that has a basket in it, and you put it on the dog the way you used to put it on the horse for the Roman Colosseum when they were chasing each other around the thing with spears and shields and stuff. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for a cart. I'm looking for a chariot with a grocery basket on it. That's what I'm looking for. A two-wheel chariot with a grocery basket on it so that I can take my dog to the store and go shopping with him. Now you're like, oh, that's what it. Because really, if you look up wagon, you're not going to see a two-wheel wagon. You look up wagon, you're going to see a four-wheel wagon. You look up dog wagon, you're going to see a four-wheel wagon that is the size of a car. You're not going to see one that like you might see like 10-year-olds sitting in it with the dog on the. That's not what we're talking about. You see what I'm saying? So it's the marketing name for it is not a wagon, but yes, we're technically looking for a wagon. Quantum tech. Okay, I'll look up that one and see what's going on with it because um we haven't covered quantum tech yet. From dog wagon to quantum tech. I'll look up quantum tech after the show because we're about to wrap things up now. We've covered all the information for Spain for today. And we have to get everything situated for tomorrow. And I got to kind of catch up with things because there was so much stuff I was supposed to do for y'all, and I haven't done a lot of it because I actually, before doing everything I had to do for the show, I had a 30-page document I had to create separate from this. So I'm playing catch up right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap the show up by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Y'all, I'm going to be here tomorrow. I want y'all to make sure, fellas, I give y'all this information to make y'all higher value men. So y'all have to prioritize the things in your life that you can control and proactively make those changes so that y'all can benefit from them and then navigate around the things that you can't control. Ladies, while this is a male driven podcast from the male's perspective, you too can take all the information that I'm giving y'all and use it to make yourselves higher value women. You just have to figure out where you want to be at in 20 years and start building your 20-year plan. Reverse engineer it back to what you can do at step one and start tackling things day by day. And keep your eyes and ears open for a potential suitor that has the mentality, the drive, and the ambition to aid you in your capabilities of meeting your 20-year plan, because that's the best partner for you. Instead of paying attention to what he's doing with his wallet, you need to pay attention to what he's doing with his skill set, his mindset, and his futuristic dreams and goals, ambitions, and drive. Because two people can get there faster than one person. Two people at 30 to 40,000 a year can make themselves millionaires in 10 years. You just got to be fiscally responsible about it. Okay. And at the end of the day, if one person can live like a king in the Philippines and Spain with $30 to $36,000 a year, two people can stack that money for 10 years and then go to the Philippines with 15% interest at $1 million, getting $150,000 a year and live in Spain or Japan or Brazil or whatever the fuck they want to go with over $150,000 a year coming in. Y'all can get digital nomad visas anywhere and make yourselves much more effective, where y'all could travel the world off of your profits just by pooling your money together for 10 years and not wasting your money on bullshit. So y'all really got to put y'all money down, put your money where it benefits your future, right? Because truth of the matter is, ladies, I want y'all to understand this. Uh, a man spends 41% of his money on his woman when they're in a relationship. A woman only benefits from 23% of the money. The other 18% he's wasting on bullshit. If you took 20 to 30% of y'all income and put it away, y'all wouldn't be broke. Y'all could retire. And if you put half away, you could retire in no time. But 20 to 30%, you could retire in 20 years. 50%, you could retire in 10. So when we talk about retire, we talk about permanently quit, never have to work again, and forever have money for the rest of your life, where you're just living off the interest. That's true retirement. And I want everybody to get there. She said, grace and peace be multiplied unto y'all. See, that was some Muslim stuff right there. She hit us with some Muslim song. She hit us with that Malcolm X on the way out together. Peace be unto you. Get your hands off my pockets. She gonna have somebody come on my podcast and put a hit on me. They gonna be, you gonna see bullets flying through the bookshelf. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Look, I want to thank y'all for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.